What's up, guys? It's Trevor with Embers here. Today I'm in the fitting area, trying out my old clubs here. Guess what? Time to put the old clubs away because we got a brand new Generation 4 set from PXG. This is a full bag special.
Wow!
Time to unbox it, open it up, try it out, do a review on it. Let's go. So here's the deal. If you guys are in the Denver, Colorado area, come down to our showroom today. Obviously, we're a fully interactive showroom. This is a brand new addition. PXG Clubs is a brand new category to our showroom. We do barbecues, outdoor living, fireplaces, fire pits, really fun stuff. Anyways, I want to tell you about the special where they do an entire bag special. So if you're like me, you're probably like, oh man, PXG is so expensive, you know, they're way too expensive. Nobody makes clubs the way we do, period. You know, some people say that. Here's the thing. In the last couple of years especially, they have gotten tremendously more affordable. So, for example, like their drivers are cheaper than like a TaylorMade, you know, the most current TaylorMade. So they're starting to get where they're in the ballpark of everybody else. So you're not gonna overpay for your golf clubs. And especially if you do an entire bag special, it's a really good way to go because you get 14 clubs, including a putter and a bag. And you can spend anywhere from as low as probably $3 grand up to like 5 would be where you max out. And you'll pay that all day long for a full fitting at a PGA Superstore or something with one of their sets. And the best part is the clubs are actually specifically fitted to you. So I got fitted. Of course, I figured I needed a Gen 4 set if I'm gonna be fitted, or if we're gonna be selling these or fitting people in our showroom. It's only natural that we have a set here. My bag is not showing up yet, but thankfully I have this tour bag over here we'll use for now. So let's check this out. Oh mama, I'm excited. Oh yeah. So here's my irons. Now I'm gonna do a video. My current irons are Gen 3. I'm gonna do a video comparing Gen 3 and Gen 4 if you're interested in that, but let's just take a little peek. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Look at that. That's just beautiful. That's a pretty golf club, isn't it? Now you don't buy golf clubs because they're pretty, but look at that. Let's just, for comparison's sake, here's what a Gen 3 looks like. Here's what a Gen 4 looks like. Obviously, one of the differences is they went back to this dark chrome or the darkness finish. So you can get these in the black finish, which I think is pretty stinking awesome. That's like one of my favorite things about it is the way that they look. Also, we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna get in here and hit some balls. If you're not familiar with PXG at all, one of sort of their secret sauce or claim to fame is these clubs are actually sort of hollowed out and they're filled with like this, gel isn't the right word, but they're filled with this substance, like almost like a squishy type substance. And in the Gen 4s, you can actually feel a dramatic difference. And so they have a really, really thin club face, and that sort of substance inside these clubs is supposed to help with forgiveness. For amateurs, if you're like me, I'm definitely an amateur, big time amateur. I need that forgiveness. So that's sort of how their irons perform. Now we're gonna go through the whole bag, but I think, just my opinion, here's an 8 iron. I would say out of all their clubs, you know, going through the whole bag, you know, putters down to, oh mama. Look at that. Here's the Sugar Daddy. This is my 60-degree wedge. They didn't have, they're sold out on the black. So I have those coming, but for now I have just the chrome. I actually kind of like the contrast. See how they look in the golf bag next to the irons. So I'll talk about the wedges, the Sugar Daddy wedges in a minute, but back to what I was talking about with the irons. I think out of all of their clubs, you know, wedges, irons, fairway woods, drivers, putters, I think that their irons are the most superior part in the lineup. So if you don't need a whole bag, personally, I've noticed that the irons have made the biggest difference. I haven't messed around with the Gen 4s too much yet, but I love my Gen 3 irons. They did make a big dramatic difference on my miss hits. The Gen 4 though, supposedly, and I was hitting it, I've only hit them once, but the woods and irons supposedly have a dramatic improvement in the Gen 4. the woods and driver, I should say. Wedge, so the way I did it is I went 5 iron through gap wedge in the traditional irons, and then I did 3 sugar daddies. So I actually have, including pitching wedge, I have 5 wedges. And I did that because I was having a pretty big gap between my clubs on my lower wedges, so hence the word gap wedge, I suppose they say. So what's the deal with the sugar daddy wedges? Well, sugar daddy wedges are completely milled. I don't know if you can see like these milled lines on here. So you know what milled means, Chris?
I don't.
So this wedge, this piece of wedge right here, was a complete like block that was completely just milled. So one block of metal, hunk of metal got shaped into this. Now the reason, why is that a benefit? They say that's a benefit because, this is what the way it's explained to me, is these tour guys like Tiger and all these other guys, let's say Nike's coming to him with clubs back when they made clubs, they would give him 20, 60 degrees and he would, you know, chip them and mess around with them. And they're not perfect, you know, because each one is different, you know, compared to a milled club. And he'd only end up liking 2 or 3 of them. So the idea with the milled club is every club is made to the exact consistency. So there's full consistency with your wedges, and they're all, you know, the center of gravity, all that's going to be identical no matter what you have, compared to like a forged club or something. Now that's Tiger Woods and other tour pros. I don't think I'm noticing a difference in that per se, but that's the story behind it. Plus, who doesn't like to hit a golf club that says Sugar Daddy on it? I do. It's one of my favorite things, actually. So figured, what the heck, why not? And again, they lowered their prices on their wedges. Those wedges used to be like 600 bucks a wedge. They're not that anymore. So again, they found a way to considerably lower their pricing. Now here's the best part too, is we're gonna talk about this. We have a lot of videos planned. You can't just buy these off the shelf. There's no like stock settings on anything. So every set is specifically tailored to the individual. And then when you buy a whole bag or even the fitting, a lot of times the fitting, they don't even upcharge you for. So you get clubs specifically tailored to you personally at the same price. And they're made for you, for your swing. So I did a 22 degree. This is more like my 4 iron because I have a problem getting the ball up in the air. And so to compensate for that, I need a higher trajectory or a higher launch angle. So that's why I did the 22 degree. Gen 4 driver. And again, same problem here. I did a 12 degree. And I'll talk about some of that here in a second, but that's the driver. And then to kind of round out the bag, I did a 5 wood. Pretty sharp. And then of course, you gotta have a putter. Now I usually play a Scotty Cameron. So to get me away from my Scotty, it's gonna have to be a pretty good putter. Check out our putter. I did the Bat Attack. I just like the shape of that. These are milled putters too. So this is the Darkness series or whatever you want to call it. How cool is this thing? Now again, I think their money clubs are their irons. So in their Gen 4 irons, let's talk about them a little bit. And let's start with the Sugar Daddies. Let's hit a few 56 degrees. All right, I got a 56 degree. Set up my flag at 110 yards. But again, nothing special here other than they're milled out of a solid block. The idea is that we can achieve full consistency. Now I'll tell you this right now, I'm an amateur golfer, which is kind of why I thought it'd be cool to do these reviews. Because a lot of the reviews, even when I was researching clubs, you're just seeing a lot of pros, a lot of guys that know what they're doing and know what they're talking about. That's not necessarily gonna apply, I think, to a lot of amateurs, a lot of the info that they're talking about, because they're kind of on another level. So I thought it'd be cool to kind of see a review from an amateur. Let's see what happens here. Set the flag at 110. It's in the ballpark. I usually hit my 56 degree at altitude here. Hit it sweet though. Yeah, so that went about 111 yards. Nice draw to it. So that's kind of their wedges. And again, you can get these in a bunch of different lofts, I think from 50 all the way up to like 62, maybe even 64. But that's a 60 degree. All right, let's talk about their irons now. Okay, so here's the deal with their irons. So I'm gonna hit a few 7 irons here. But see this big weight right here? that is adjustable at the time of fitting. It is doable later, but it's kind of a pain. Now, I think this is super nice because I get sort of a little, at the top of my swing, I get a little wrist heavy. And when I get wrist heavy, what I start to do is I start to, with my wrist, I'll come over the top a little bit. So I went with almost the heaviest weight possible in these. And I feel like that I can feel it. I can feel the weight of the club more. And at the top of my swing, I kind of feel it pulling this way and sort of keeping me on plane, in theory. We'll see what happens. They do have 3 styles. So they have the Players Club, the Extreme Forgiveness, which I don't think they call it Extreme Forgiveness anymore, and then like a thinner, more like a blade style. I did the Players, which is right in the middle. I'm about a 15 to 18 handicap. Now, the Extreme Forgiveness, they're more de-lofted to try to get, you know, these players that don't have a very good swing to get yardage. I don't have a problem with the yardage. And like I was talking about, I need to get the ball up in the air. So the de-lofted ones just wouldn't work for me. So I went in the middle. Of course, the Tour ones are even thinner, more like blades. So you have less of that gel, less forgiveness, but again, you can shape your shots more. I'm just right in the middle because it's not like I'm out here shaping my shots. So let's see what happens with a few 7-irons here. Oh, that felt good. Look at that. 192 yard 7-iron. I don't hit a 192 yard 7-iron. Okay, so that was a bad miss hit. So that's what they're talking about with this gel in here. Look at that. Total distance was 150 yards. So I normally hit a 7-iron about 180-ish. So it only took 30 yards off my swing, and it was a terrible shot. That's what I'm talking about, is their irons, you can tell they make a big difference when you have that miss hit. Lord knows I have plenty of them. One more, and then we'll move on. That one felt good, pushed it a little bit. Good club striking. So again, not a perfect shot. Look, check this out, 186 yards with a push. I'll take that all day, twice on Sundays. All right, should we try out the high B? Let's try out the hybrid. All right, let's try out a few of our hybrid shots here. I can feel that pushing that one. Oh yeah, 22 degree, 226, all day long. Now I should let you know on my distances, we're in Colorado, so we're at 5,500 square feet. What's cool with the GC Quad is there's an option to adjust your altitude for yardage, so that's part of the reason why I'm hitting it so far. So I adjusted the altitude for 5,000 feet, so our ball flight's gonna be a little further than if you're at sea level, because I know what you're thinking, man, Trevor's hitting bombs. Hellacious seeds out here like Phil. Part of it's the altitude. Let's get another one. Oh, that was awful. Just terrible. So there is like that honeycomb on the inside of this club, sort of that same sort of honeycomb like gel filler. And maybe it's placebo, but I feel like I can feel it. It feels soft off the club face when you hit it right. It feels softer than a normal hybrid would. And I like the way it feels. Another one that felt good. But I like I'm getting the ball up in the air a little more too. That one wasn't as far, 200. Fat, got the fats on that one. So I hit that way fat, and again, same thing, 188. I'll take it. All right, let's hit the big dog. The big bad dog. So I went 12 degree on my driver, believe it or not. All right, before I end this video, I gotta hit some bombs for you guys. So again, same thing with the drivers. It's got that honeycomb material in here. I think it's right under this here. There's a sharp looking driver. These weights are adjustable, I believe. And we can adjust a degree or two. I'm at a 12, so I could choke that down a little bit or go backwards. I don't need to go any more lofted than 12 degrees. All right, let's give her a try. Hit some bombs out here. Bomb time. Engage. a massive pull again. That one felt good. Still not hitting bombs yet with this, but they're coming. I can tell they're coming. So that's the full clubs top to bottom. I didn't really go over the putter too much. We are installing a putting green in here, so we'll have a putting green in here that you can check out. So you'll be able to do a full putter fitting too, on top of, you know, a full bag fitting. So that's the PXG full bag special. I'm waiting on my bag still, but you can see it's not a bad deal for what you get. I mean, they're premium golf clubs, and I think they perform like a premium club. Now, I know what you're saying, oh, Trevor, you play PXG, so like, of course you're biased towards them. Yes, true. I do play PXG, but like all things in our showroom, whether it's Kamato's Joe's, whether it's gas fireplaces, wood inserts, fire pit tables, there's nothing in my store that I personally don't like. Everything in our stores is something that I personally, or my team personally, has a passion for. Because when you have a passion for something, it's going to translate to your consumers. So PXG is a brand that I have a passion for when it comes to the golf industry. It is my favorite brand, and therefore it's available in our stores. That's what's so awesome about it. It's a product I believe in. So this is the PXG full bag setup, top to bottom. You don't get the tour bag though. You just get a regular like stand bag like this guy here. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, subscribe to our channel, press all the buttons, like this video. And again, if you want to come get fitted, come to our showroom today and we'll get you on the schedule. Stay tuned for more.